proper reading and practicing the questions that will appear in the GATE exam. So I found brilliant tutorials. You might have heard about brilliant tutorials as uh, as a thing that is actually giving 90% success status for the students who are following the material, for not only for our instrumentation but for all other courses. So I have applied. I have applied for a prescription to brilliant tutorials, and what happened is like they have sent me some pro forma to fill in and send that details back to them, so that, and I have to make some payment around some 10,000 at that point of time. So what happened is like that letter came to the notice of our principal that time, and his name is Sudhakar Reddy Garu. I remember his name very well, and he actually called me for a meeting with him. Okay, so he told he was asking me, being a second year student, why I am trying to think about GATE exam in the second year. Then I explained like I want to start my preparation right away, so that I want to crack the GATE exam with a very good pass score or a rank in final year. So then he told he's interested to sponsor it from our college. And the one thing he told is like the material, the brilliant materials, tutorial materials for our electronic instrumentation subject will be with the library, and anybody who's interested in GATE exam can go to library and read, because at that point of time brilliant tutorials doesn't provide materials to organizations. Rather they will give or issue publications only to students only, like in person, not to organizations. So principal sir has paid the fees for all the brilliant tutorial course, and he actually sent a DD on my name, and I have sent it back to brilliant tutorials. Also he formed a group across all the, I mean, he felt this one is very encouraging and very good initiative, and he has also called upon in other branches, CSC, IT, ECE, EEE, and mechanical, and he also nominated one person each from each branch. He formed a group, and he has paid GATE materials for the money that is required for GATE materials that are required for each branch. So he paid all the amount for all branches, and one person was nominated to receive the material in person and hand it over to library. So this way I got all the material that I thought actually will use my preparation. And believe me, like I have prepared the brilliant, I completed all the brilliant materials 2 to 3 times before I attempted the exam in the third year. Even some of the subjects that are in fourth year also, I try to learn my own, and I gave an attempt. So maybe due to negative marking, I might have lost some, marks, but I was happy that I have scored 98 rank in my first attempt in the third year. So that's how I cracked the GATE exam. And next year, after cracking the GATE exam in third year, I didn't feel like fancy of going it again back, writing the exam once again in fourth year. Rather, I focused on learning some programming languages, and I just thought like I will give an attempt for GRE as well. But due to some financial constraints, I couldn't attempt that GRE and IELTS. But I was successful in my first attempt in GATE exam, and later many people have asked me to give some notes I prepared during my preparations, which I think I gave to library. After I was about to leave the college, I submitted all my GATE notes to the. Sorry, this is a back noise. Um, so as I'm working from home, my children are creating noise in the background. So please bear with me. So that is how actually my journey with the GATE exam has started, and I was successful in my first attempt. And uh, yeah, and actually many people, I mean, basically principal and other management were very supportive, and I used to bug Nayak sir, and there is one more sir, Arun Kumar sir, in EIE at that point of time. So I used to, run around with these two lecturers day and night. We used to go to their room also to sometimes study and clarify our doubts, because Nayak sir has also completed his MTech from IIT Madras. So having such people around, and having some materials with us, I mean, these are the only two resources, 2 to 3 resources we used to have to crack these kind of things, because there is no other there is no senior batch for us to guide and tell, okay, you need to do like this, you need to learn like this, you need to focus on these subjects, something like that. So we don't have anybody to guide. That was the major problem for us, and there were no proper textbooks available for us. So apart from that, in my fourth year, I also got a couple of placements in LBRCE campus placements, but I I didn't opt to go for a job. Um, and also I have tried applying for IOCL outside the campus, like it's a out of campus kind of thing, because I have attempted gate exam, right? So I attended their exam in 2006, I believe, in the beginning of January. I attempted an exam, and I have successfully cleared that exam as well, but I couldn't clear the final round for IOCL. Had it had I got an opportunity to get a job in IOCL, I might have joined in IOCL rather than going for MTech. But yeah, I mean, you have to try all options basically, because you need to be clear by the time you step out from the college, like what way. So you should have options 1, 2, 3, because you never know what option you will end up with, right? Like if you have only one option, it will be disappointing if you are not in a position to achieve it in the end. So I will say try to keep 2 to 3 options ready, because you never know what will happen. Because if you try to settle in your core field itself, sometimes it may not be possible, because if there are no opportunities available, then I don't know, like not everyone is financially will be financially good, right, to wait for the right opportunity to come around. You will have pressure from the family as well. So uh, one more point I would like to bring to I want to discuss is, so after I joined my MTech, right, it was a very good learning for me in my masters as well, because we used to teach people who are undergraduates. So in NIT, when I say NIT Warangal, I have seen people with very good ranks in AAEE, and um, there is another exam which actually through which the undergraduate students, that is BTech students, join NIT Warangal. So we used to teach those students, and basically we used to help our professors in preparing the lecture slides. So we used to do PowerPoint presentations. We used to prepare a lot of we used to read a lot of books. We need to prepare the lecture slides, and we used to correct their papers. We used to sit in the so we were given some a laboratory to sit and work around and do some research around the PhD thesis which my professor was working. So I got a chance like that when I was studying MTech, and I published a IEEE paper as well along with my professor for his PhD thesis on image compression algorithm implementation and the coding on a digital signal processor. So basically, instrumentation has a diversified fields. It has its own footprint in diversified fields. So when you say instrumentation, always think about like instrumentation is only for working in a oil refinery, working in a petrochemical company, or somewhere like a process industry. where all machinery will be involved or something like that. It is not like that. Instrumentation is more about collecting the data from sources and analyzing the data and taking corrective action, right? It is more about instrumentation is more about getting that data. So now, as you guys see, right, like now the technology is dispensing some terms like big data. You might be hearing some terms like machine learning. So what I could see is there is nothing like a diversification, even though you might see some process industry which is collecting the data. Take for example, take a power plant, will be collecting information from different sensors like furnace, from the from the rotor, how much speed it is running. So they are collecting all this information. At the end, they need to store this information somewhere. And if they are seeing some faulty operation of the equipment, they will be analyzing this data. So analyzing of again is related to collecting, storing, analyzing, and then further processing the data for future control. So what instrumentation does is uses the data to do again control mechanism, so adapt to the process, right? That's what is all about the instrumentation is. So there is no specific limit saying this is the part of instrumentation and this is part of electronics and this is part of something else, computer science or programming. So in during my mtech I learned like instrumentation is not only about getting data from sensors, but it's more about processing the information. It's more about transmitting the information. It's more about it's not only about only these process industries, but it is more than that. Instrumentation is existing in many other fields like communication and health and travel industry. So many other industries use some part of instrumentation capabilities, I would say. And another field is aeronautics. So many other fields. Biomedical research. So many other fields use instrumentation technology as a base, and then they later diversify. So it all depends like uh, and know now what next, what is the next set of things I need to learn in specific to aeronautics to lay my path towards the direction of aeronautics. If I am more interested in telemetry and satellite communications, then I need to understand, okay, what is my path and what are the things I need to know. So that is more about specialization that you will be doing in masters. And as you can see, different institutes like IITs and NITs, they offered different varieties of instrumentation specializations. For example, the college I studied is NIT Warangal, where our specialization is more about electronic instrumentation. So electronic instrumentation is more about uh, using the instrumentation process for gathering some information which will be further processed using electronics. So our specialization is more about processing the information using digital signal processes. So digital signal processes is again a fast computing device which you now see DAs and digital signal processes which we are having right now in our mobiles, right? So all these kind of computation technology and how the information is gathered from different sources, how it is processed, is more about electronic instrumentation. So this is one example. If you check for other specializations like biomedical, there might be some other approach. So you will see biomedical engineering in IIT Mumbai. Um, so so they'll deal with something related to that specialization is something related to optics and instrumentation around it. You need to decide which field you are more interested in, and accordingly choose the specialization and step forward your learning on your learning. Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, so I will pause for a minute if you guys have any questions on anything I spoke about so far. Okay. To go into the industry, right? So whether you are planning to do your higher studies in terms of technical, graduate, post graduation, or if you want to right away step into the industry with your undergraduate degree, then I will say you should be thorough with your basics. And uh, basics in the sense, people won't be asking you to derive a equation for a PID controller or PI controller. Okay, so they won't ask you to prove some theorem or something like that, but they will ask you basic questions if you are trying to attempt an interview in any of the instrumentation field. So you should be thorough with your basics. And the next thing that you need to have is the confidence in your speech. So if you, when I say confidence, right, you uh, you should be confident with the answer you are giving to the person, and you should be correct in your answer. If you don't know the answer, you better confidently say it that you don't know. uh, and try to improve your vocabulary and mode of communication, and try to always have eye to eye contact when you are doing an interview with any of the company. And try to set your own expectations. So read about the company profile before you go to an interview, and see like what that company is operating on, like what are their companies, what is the company profile, what are all the, when they got established, and what is their mission or a vision of the company, and how you can help from your side by joining that company to achieve their mission or vision. So that is something you should prepare well before you go to an interview. And also you should be very good with your um, technical basics. Looks like no one has said out. Okay, sorry. um, Okay, before I get chat chat questions on the chat from anyone, I would also like to tell people like I'm not sure how many of you guys who joined on the call are on fourth year and will be passing out this year, and uh, so there is a difficult time that is going to come for 2 years at least. So what I will suggest is try to, if you are if you are very confident that you will somehow get a job in this crisis situation, because right now you can see the economy is falling down. And because I myself as is an example. I'll tell you how I ended up in software industry. Okay. Um, in 2008, we had, I mean, in NIT campus, I was, our campus placements has started in 2008 beginning. And initially, there were a huge flock of companies that were coming for placements. So we used to have a policy in NIT Warangal. So we still have that policy. Like in NIT Warangal, they will say you can attend a normal, you can opt, or you can sit for a normal job, and you can sit for one company for a dream job. So normal companies are like the software company jobs. You any other colleges will get, and dream companies are something like the companies that offer you more packets. In term, and also they are the top most companies which are listed in the Fortune 500. So we used to have that category. What happened is like the first month of interview schedule, we all of mostly, I mean 90% of the people got placed in, they have got their first job like the normal job. And we are all waiting for the dream companies, I mean like the core companies to come over, so that we can attempt for a dream job. What happened is like during February 2008, I believe, the Lehman and Brothers, the company has crashed out, and stocks were falling down. And you know what happened, like the campus placements were on hold. Like the companies which has scheduled an interview with the students on the campus has told like they are not coming because of the recession. So what happened is like we were expecting nearly 150 to 180 companies to come for a campus interview to NIT Warangal, but we ended up in only 23 companies later turning up. And what is the decision the management has taken in NIT Warangal at that point of time is, whomsoever is already having a job offer, they cannot attend any more interviews, because people without any jobs has to, because they want 100% placements, right? So I'm not saying, I mean, I'm not blaming a college or something like that. Like policies will change, economy will change, things will change. So uh, you need to be ready with the present situation, and you need to be uh, planning a bit ahead of time, seeing the market and the economy. That's what I will say. So I ended up with no other interviews, so I was not allowed to sit for any other interview. And I was also one of the campus placement coordinator from my branch, from EC department, where my specialization is there. So I can't allow my friends to sit in any job interview, and I can't myself sit in any other job interview. So luckily, I mean, some of the people who didn't get a job, they got core company jobs. And right now, my friends, my classmates, who are the, I mean, I'm not pointing out like they are least performers, but the people who are with a lower, grading percentile in the academics, they are lucky enough to get a job in HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is a again central government company. So it's a PSU job, public sector job. So see, so you never know. Some people with no good academics might end up with a very good job, and someone with very good academics end up in a software job. And after I got out from my college in 2008, you guys believe me, like I have attended nearly more than 60 to 70 interviews. Okay, 60 to 70 interviews. And I have roamed around around many companies in Bangalore. I went to Pune, I went to Hyderabad, and once I went to Delhi as well for giving. I was submitting my